coming up with this one. I'm coming immediately. Guys, also, my beautiful, somebody is asking me a question that I have to address immediately. And let's see. You know, we are on, oh, there you go.
Happy Sunday.
Yeah, there you go.
Happy Sunday.
All right. So this is gonna be a short one. I just do one survival, then I'm off because I have a task almost immediately. So
Can I try with some?
with what?
With some.
Yeah, that's okay. So I'll do rush principally because in a rush when I
Sunday.
have a hello.
Happy Sunday.
Can't even see you while you're speaking. Come here closer to me. So you can see. There you go.
Happy Sunday.
All right.
Happy Sunday.
Okay, fine. That's enough. Okay. Okay. So I want to explain what's going on in most of these streams. So what's going on? This is a check. All right, and
Where can you move to?
and there has to be only one right move. Any other move is going to lose. So hey, this is what I can see.
I haven't listened to this.
If I play in the back to the back rank, he's going to check me down, and when he checks me, I have to come up to this rank. Then the rook comes to that rank and he picks me queen. So the only move I can play is this. Do you understand? The queen is already defended, but this is a second defense. The only thing is if I go down, he'll check me with the queen. I go up now, the rook comes and the rook takes my queen. So this is the only answer. Okay. So in this position, I can see that the king has no escape square. So basically, this is a back rank issue. If I bring my rook here, check, the king can't escape. He'll give me the queen, give me the rook, and that's just checkmate. So rook first, and even the queen, no problem. Still a checkmate. Same thing here. You can see this is a side rank checkmate. Hera says a side rank. This king can't go to this square because the knight is defending that square. So just bringing the rook can only be along this file. So bringing a rook onto that file is already checkmate. He'll bring the bishop here, I'll capture, and he'll be checkmate, and that's it. That's it. Okay. Where are we? This is another interesting position. And the way we go about chess is to look at the checks first. In this position, black wants to pick this rook. But the rook can come here and say check, then the king will have to escape. Because it can't come to this file already. This rook is already here on that file. So it has to go either here or here. But then I also see that this knight can come and give another check. So this will be checkmate, this will be checkmate because it can't come here. So that's the answer. Play here check, and this is a checkmate. Okay, so what's going on? Already I can see the rook coming down to say check. If the bishop were to come here, the queen is also defending that square. So that's going to be a double, that's also going to be a check. So the king probably has to move up, not probably, definitely has to move up. If it moves up, then this pawn can move, discovering a check, and you can't block it. So this is checkmate. So this is the first move. After this move, the king has two options to get out of check. One, the king can come here, or you can block. So three ways to deal with check. One is to capture the checking piece. Two is to block. Three is to move the king. So here, if the rook comes down here, you can't capture the checking piece. You must move or block. You can block with the bishop here, yes, but the queen can come in, say check. Then the king has to move here, and then the queen coming is checkmate, or moving this pawn forward is checkmate. So the only other move is to move the king up, but then you can see what's happening. This bishop has an attack on that king. It's called an x-ray through another piece, and whose piece is it? It's white. So white can move it, and it's going to be checked from this bishop. That's what you're going to do. Just play check. Then now you see I'm moving this pawn, and now it's going to be checked from this bishop. But this is checkmate because you can't capture the bishop. They're saying checkmate. Two, you cannot block this path, nothing can come there. And three, the king can't move. Remember, all this time the queen is under attack. Normally, you can be tempted to move the queen first, and in that process, you miss out a checkmate. Okay, what's going on here? Again, this position is a straightforward checkmate. Principally, you look at all the checks. Where can the king escape to? The king can't escape. It can't go there. It can't go there. It's already stalemated. And so just a simple check will be checkmate. So be careful not to come here because there's a queen that you can capture there. But there's a second place I can check at, and this is here. This will also be checkmate, but it's checkmate in two as opposed to. Actually, this is not checkmate because when you play here check, the queen is going to come here and block. So let's remember that whenever I'm giving a check, the three solutions: capture the checking piece, two, block, 3, move. This, there's a block. The block is going to come here, here, or here. And this block is actually very good already. And black would be probably winning in this position. So meaning maybe is a bit much, but that's the answer. Great. So let's look for another check. I've already seen this answer. And what's happening is you have a check here. So for a knight check, you cannot block the check. You can either capture or move. So where can this king move to from where it is? The king can move here. But when the knight comes here saying check, it's also protecting this square. So this king can't move and the knight can't be captured. So this is checkmate. All right. So this one is a very interesting solution. I can already see the answer. And what's happening is that I'm going to exchange this rook because the king and the rook are standing on the same line. So this is called a skewer. If I come here attacking this, I bring my rook here attacking that king. The king has to move to this line. Then I'll pick that rook. The king picks it back, and then now that was almost a mistake. Then now I pick this pawn, and the difference is my pawn becomes a queen faster than your pawn. So I'm just going to pick this, okay? And then I pick this. And now the difference is now I'll have a queen before you get a queen. And this just wins the game. This will be a queen. Then I make a queen now. And you can't make a queen. That's a straightforward move there. Great. So, what's going on? So this one, I don't have an immediate check. Already I've looked and there's no check. But I can see that there's a knight that can be captured. Do you capture the bishop or do you capture with the knight? Already automatically I can see capturing with the rook is a better option, and it's the answer, and I'll explain why. Hera, can you see why capturing with the rook is a better option? Can you see? Can you see why capturing with the knight is a better option? Rook. If this rook comes and captures this, why? Because the bishop can also capture. But why?
Also, as you capture that,
Mhm.
as you capture with the rook,
Mhm.
you can, if he does,
Bring a seat if you'd like. And let's see if we can splice in Hera into this discussion. And we're just going to move this down a little bit. Move it here. Make this a little smaller. Move it here. And
so
oh, you're on which side? How come I can't see you? Okay, let me see. Just make a little bit of space there. I think that should be able to see you. Then we just move it in a little bit. Oh, you're still too far. You have to move closer. Then you have to lean in. Okay.
so
That's better.
I have seen as
You can just pin it with still
as
not.
you capture with the rook, you can still capture with the after capturing with the rook. If he doesn't move his bishop, you can pick the bishop. You're attacking the bishop.
One moment. But the knight is defending the bishop, no?
That was the only reason I saw. What other reason is there?
So which piece should pick? Okay, so that looks okay.
The rook.
Let's go to, yeah.
Oh, I've seen another reason why.
What's the reason?
The bishop is defending the pawn. No, your bishop is defending.
Okay, so let's just see what happens. If I just pick this back with the bishop without doing anything else, then I'll have two bishops and you'll have a bishop and a knight versus a rook. So basically, it's more or less equal material. Maybe a pawn up for white and a pawn up is not adequate. What is that? Like you. But mommy, we are streaming. Mommy, we are streaming. Imagine. So, so this move actually is the right move because I'm attacking the knight and I'm attacking the bishop. If the knight is defended with the rook, I'll just pick the rook. So this is basically this move attacks the knight which is defending the bishop. If the knight moves, I hit the bishop for free. You
And
can't
if the-
defend,
And if he defends the rook?
how does he defend with the rook? On which square? Yeah, so I'll hit you with the rook.
Fine.
Brings here, the bishop will capture, here the bishop will capture. So definitely the best move is to capture here with the rook, which just wins a piece, because I'll end up picking either the knight or the bishop for free.
Play.
And that's what he does. So he's picked.
What do we do here?
Good question.
Do we pick the knight or do we pick the bishop?
You must. Okay, you tell me what's the correct answer. Must, yes. There's only one correct move.
The knight.
Oops. There's only one correct answer.
If you pick the rook.
If you pick that.
If you pick with the rook, the bishop, what will he play?
If you pick with this bishop.
No, as it like the rook picks the bishop.
Rook picks the bishop, all right?
What does he play?
You tell me. Let's start with this one. If you pick the knight with the bishop, what happens?
He picks with his rook.
No, he does not.
Why?
Why? Because the bishop is under attack.
So you pick, and what does he do?
He plays the bishop here to the square, attacking the rook. And if the rook moves away, it's a skewer. So he picks the bishop back and he more or less equalizes.
Okay, then you pick if you pick the...
So you have to pick the bishop. This is the correct move. Because what I'm saying is, if you pick this guy, don't pick back immediately. You play here first, attacking the rook. So if the rook moves, then this bishop will be picked because it's not attacked by this bishop here and this rook here. So that's more or less, the rook can't come and defend because you just pick the bishop for free. And as a result, that becomes a draw. But this one is a correct move, so be careful. This is an interesting move. So in this position, yeah, but he's attacking a queen. Pick the queen is the right move, I agree, but why? Because you're going to take it a few moves further. So he's going to, if I pick the queen, he picks my queen attacking my bishop, but I have an intermediate move here. I pick this piece, say check. And then
he picks your rook?
He doesn't pick my rook, he can't pick my rook. And he's not pickable, and then I pick the knight. So I'll pick his queen. He picks my queen, I pick this, and it's a fork, I pick the bishop, then the knight first. So looking at what happens in terms of lines in chess is super important. The other thing I must ask myself first is, after this move, if you are to play this check, do I have anything to lose? Nothing, I can just move here, and it's a good game. So I pick the queen, then I play here check, and I play there. Great, what's happening here? Goodbye. So this one is a pretty easy one because black wants to make a queen, and the queen. Okay, so we can go back to where we were. So they can be a little bit bigger and more visible. There you go. So already the answer here is pretty straightforward, and you try and solve it. So when the pawn gets to the end, it becomes a queen. So two things. First, black can never lose because the bishop alone will not give a checkmate. So that's pretty clear. But then, okay, that's not true. You can go and make some funny piece, then come and block yourself, and maybe come and block yourself on this file, and then allow the bishop to come and checkmate you. So there are sequences where it's possible, as much as it's not easy, but it's possible. Say, for example, I convert this into a into a bishop. Then I'll bring my bishop. My bishop somehow ends up here. My black king ends up here. The black king ends up here or here, and it's black son to play. Do you understand? So this king ends up here. The bishop. Let's give the bishop a square like this. This bishop is here. This king is here. One of these pawns becomes a bishop, and it comes here. and then this king is here or here. So in this position, the king cannot move. So white to play comes and gives a check. This king is blocked by the bishop here, can't go up because it's blocked by this king, and that's a checkmate. So a checkmate is possible, but black has to play like super silly moves for that to happen. But then in reality, it's not going to happen. So I want to make a queen. And the way to make a queen is by making one of these pawns pass. Of course, if I push this pawn here, it's going to be captured. If I push this pawn here, it's going to be captured by the bishop. But the bishop can't stop both pawns at the same time. This is a light colored square bishop. So this bishop has to be ready to pick this pawn when it gets here. It has to be ready to pick this pawn when it gets here or when it gets here. So this is the first move I will make. The most important one is the bishop can never touch this pawn when this is here, because the moment you touch this pawn, then this becomes a queen. So I'll play here first. The king captures, and now I'm going to play this pawn move. Looks like I'm sacrificing a second pawn. If I play here, if he captures this, then this moves forward, and it can become a queen almost immediately, because now you can't come back and catch it. But if I play this is a bad move because you capture it. This moves, the bishop comes here, moves, and you stop the pawn there. So this is what I'm going to play. Correct move. And now you cannot stop this pawn from becoming a queen. Okay, so this is an interesting one. This is just a straightforward checkmate. I'm going to give you a check here. Then the king has to go back to the back rank. There's no other way. You can't block this pawn. You can't capture the pawn. And now the king will have a back rank issue. And then I'll follow it up with a check here, which is basically checkmate. Okay, this is checkmate. So this is a bit of a tricky one. But with the king here, this is, so the queen is going to end up, so I'm going to play a check. Along that file, the king can only come to this square. Then I'm going to play a check here with the king. And the king can't come up. This square is blocked. This square is blocked. That square is blocked by its own rook. So it has to come here, and then my queen will come here and give checkmate. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, check. This king will have to come here, only move. Then I'll come here with my king, queen, and the king will have to go here. And then this is going to be checkmate. Okay, so there you go. Easy. Now, don't make the mistake of capturing this pawn, because the moment you capture this pawn, then the king escapes. It's going to escape here. So I come here, which is a better move. Okay, and checkmate was coming, so it had no option. Great. So what am I seeing here already? It's don't mean anything. Okay. So the immediate thing is that this rook is attacking this king or queen. So if I move my knight, this rook is going to capture my queen. So this is another important question in life. There are very many arguments that are very shallow. So the immediate question is, can this knight capture the can this capture this knight? Can this knight capture this knight? So the first person will say yes or no. They really don't know whether they're just guessing. They don't know the knight can capture or not. Maybe the understanding of chess is not good or whatever, but it's a really basic yes or no. Then the second person will see that the knight can actually go to that square and will say, yes, in fact, the knight can capture the knight. And they'll be right because the knight can physically capture. But the next person will see that when the knight captures this, then this rook is going to capture that queen and say, no, 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 no. You cannot capture this knight because you cannot capture the knight. So the answer is no. Then the next person comes and sees and says, yes, the knight can capture it because he sees the knight can move to this square. Yes, he sees the rook can eat this queen. But yes, he sees that after the rook eats this queen, this knight is going to capture this queen with a check. And therefore, I've gotten a knight and I've gotten a queen, and therefore I feel I'm okay. And I say, yes, the knight can capture. The question is, The first person who said yes, the knight can capture, they're guessing. And the first person who says yes, the knight can capture, they're understanding that the knight can capture this queen with a check. Are they both seeing the same thing? The person who said no, the knight cannot capture, because they saw this capture, and then they saw that the rook would capture here. Are they wrong? And the person who said yes because they could see the knight can come here, right? And this is an argument in life in general. Someone has a very complex concept, very simple, someone makes a very simplistic answer, and they conclude the right because the virtual answer is yes. The answer is, for this case, the correct answer is this. That's the truth. But then the person who said yes just because they could see this knight can move like this, I dare say that person is wrong. I call these KCP levels, net capture pawn levels. And the idea is that your argument is and lots of arguments are like that. Someone is arguing about so many complex things, and they can't jump to a quick conclusion, and the conclusion is wrong. But then they will not understand that the conclusion is wrong, and so they not accept. As long as the right answer is net captures net is the right answer, they say they're right all along, and they weren't because they just didn't see long enough. For the person who's answering no, if the answer is very simple, then either there's something they're seeing but you're not seeing. In fact, this question doesn't end there. I also noticed that once I've captured this way, it's not the end of the equation because number one, this knight has no escape. That's the first thing, so it can be attacked, it can be captured. Number two, this rook sitting is attacking this bishop, and therefore I have to be very, very sure that one, I can defend, this knight can escape eventually, and number two, I can defend my bishop somehow at the same time. And I already can see options, but there are things that have to be worked out. So in fact, someone who thinks further may even opt for a different move, except that this one is quite correct in this case. So I'm going to pick this. As you can see, picked my queen, then I pick that with a check, and they say that's the correct answer, but in fact, that's not the end of the story. Great. Here we are. Next question. And this question is pretty straightforward. You can see a number of things are happening. Number one, this knight is under attack. This queen and this bishop are threatening checkmate here. And so you can get this checkmate is stopped by this queen that is also defending a bishop. So this queen is overloaded, and the solution is what? We can attack the queen. If the queen moves and leaves f2 undefended, it's going to be checkmate. Or if he leaves the queen, bishop undefended, we're going to pick that. Yes, Stella.
Moti. The one was drinking.
You want Moti?
Yeah, the one was drinking.
Please ask sister to put for you some Moti. Sister, please put for Telo some Moti.
The one was eating.
The one she was drinking, that one. Thank you. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. The next puzzle. So I have to go a little bit faster simply because this task I'm meant to finish that I haven't finished. And this is pretty straightforward. There's a very straightforward threat. I just come here, it's checkmate. You can see that the king has an escape. What is going to happen here? Okay, so this one is also pretty straightforward. Is it? Not really, it isn't. This is a lot more complicated. So the immediate thing that strikes me is that you can attack the Okay, so the immediate thing that strikes me is, let's have a look at all this first, is that I can come here and pin this knight. So in chess, a number of things you want to do. You want to bring out your pieces into the attack or use them. If they're at home, they're not doing adding any value. So this develops this bishop, and then immediately the rooks can come into the center. So in fact, if these rooks were coming immediately, then it could be even simpler. But when I play this, which pins this knight, which can then be attacked twofold, I see that the bishop will play to this square, and I'm just trying to see what the correct continuation is. And I'm seeing I can pick this knight, picks my bishop, I pick the queen, he picks that queen, and I don't know who is better and why. But that's the only move I can play. Why? Why not bishop? I don't understand. We'll come back and look at this one to understand why the bishop is going to play here. Okay, but this one I just pick and I pick back. That is 1044. We'll look at it again at the end. Okay, so I'm going to play a little bit faster. In this situation, this knight is defending that bishop, so I'll just pick here first, and then I pick that. And then this is pretty straightforward. I'm going to play here check, and then this is a fork with a knight, and I pick that. So I'm sorry I'm moving a little bit faster. The explanations are going to come down a little bit. So we have what to do here. Okay. The thing that strikes me immediately is that this is pretty straightforward. This square is weak. The rooks are ready for being forked by a knight. A fork is a situation where the piece is attacking two pieces, and there's no defense against that really. So I'll play here attacking the queen. When the queen runs away, this fork happens, and then I can pick that knight, that rook there. Great. Already, first thing I can see is that I can pick this bishop that is hanging, but if I pick this bishop, I pick this bishop back. However, I can remove this one and say check first, and then I can pick this for free. This is just a straightforward fork. I'm going to come in with a check. Then I pick this guy. Then I pick that guy. Then I pick that guy. So when two pawns are on the 6th rank, they're already stronger than a rook. The rook can't stop them. And that's exactly what connected pawns. If you have two pawns on the 6th rank, a rook alone can't stop them from becoming a queen. So that you just have to know. So I'm going to pick this, and now there are 2 pawns beyond the 6th rank, and this is the reason. I'm going to attack the rook here. If you pick this guy, I'm going to make a queen. But he plays a little trick there. If I come to attack the knight, he'll pick here with a check. I pick the knight and he picks here. Now suddenly white is winning. So I must move away from that check. And then now this is a check. And I'll pick the knight and be protecting against the mate. It's a little bit more complicated, but I hope you understand what is going on there. So this one, I'm tempted to play a check here, but that check is wrong because I don't have this check here instead. Oh, there's a check actually. So first things first. Interesting. It's a check. What do I do? Interesting. This is super interesting actually. So what I want to do is to allow him to take my rook, and then I will make another queen. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to play here first. He takes my rook, then I'm going to play here check, and then I'm going to make another queen there, and we'll just come back and do what is called rinse repeat. That was a bit harder than I expected. This position looks a bit dicey, except that I don't have the immediate answer. Actually, I do. Very nice. It's a very nice checkmate. So the king is stalemated, but there's no immediate check that works. If I give the check with the queen, the king escapes. But now I can bring this knight to this square and learn to go and give checkmate here. You can't capture the knight and you can't stop me. So essentially this is going to be a checkmate, and you cannot stop that checkmate. Okay, so this is not a very uncommon situation. I want to capture here check, but the king will capture, so I remove the defender of that square first. Question is, how will I stop this checkmates? Okay, this is the right move first. Let's play it. Then let us play. That was close. I wanted to pick here check first. I already knew this king is going to escape here. Then I thought I'll come here. Normally that's a checkmate if this guy is defended, but he's going to capture here with the king. That doesn't work. But I have another check in the position. So look through all your checks. In this check, there's no defense if this is a checkmate. So again, the same thing we're doing. We're looking at checks first. And what checks do we have in this position? There's a nice little check here. And the defense against this check is non-existent. There's this check, the king will just begin to escape, and I think he'll just get away. But this check looks very good because if you bring the rook and begin to capture, if the king goes here, this will be a check. The king has to come up here, and this is a checkmate. So let me explain that. This is a check, the queen. So the king cannot cross here. The rook is defending. It can't go in that diagonal. Queen is defending. The only square is this. The king and rook are still on the same file, so this is going to be rank. So this is going to be a check. This is queen is covering that. Only move for the king is here, and now this queen can come to this square, and that's checkmate. The alternative is after this check is to bring the block, bring the rook here, but that queen just picks straight away checkmate. So this is a correct move, and then this is a correct move, and then this is a checkmate. Great. So there's a very nice puzzle that starts with these 3 pawns versus 3 pawns, how to make a queen. And this is basically who's going to queen faster. And there's a very easy way to see who will queen faster. If you both have passed pawns, it's not a question of how many pawns, but who can make a queen. So I want to give this pawn out. And the idea is if it picks this way, then do I pick? Yes, I pick that guy. And the reason is because I want this pawn to queen, because this pawn queens will check. This king is on that square. So if I make this guy a queen, I have an extra move. So let's count. So I'm going to play here. He'll play, I play, and he plays that, okay? Then now I have 1, 2, 3 moves to queen, and he has 1, 2, 3. He would queen immediately. After I queen, the 4th move, except this is check. So when he deals with the check, now I come behind the pawn, and I'm going to capture this guy. So this is the correct move. I hope you've understood what I'm saying. Of course, now he'll try and catch me, but he can't because he has to be in the square. So the rule is, to know that king can catch a pawn, you draw a square from the queen square, like that square. And this from this pawn will become a queen there. How many? So draw a square from there. That is a 3 by 3 square. So if it's white's move and they can get into that square, they can catch the pawn. But if they can't get into that square, they will not catch the pawn. So in the previous position, I was moving here, and this king had to be able to come here, and it can't go to squares. Now I'll be moving into this move, and so it can't come to that square. So I'm just queening. It can't come to that square, and this is just a queen. All right. Here, what is going on? I feel like I have to stop, though I was doing very well, principally because there's something going on that I need to address. Okay. In this position, what strikes me as something I should do is one of 2 things. I can come and play check and then attack this bishop, which can't be defended. Actually, that's the answer. So initially what I was thinking was I'll play check, then begin to push this pawn all the way and make a queen, but that won't work. But when I come check, then attack this bishop, because this bishop is defending that rook. If the bishop moves up, I pick it, and you pick, I pick a rook. So this is the answer. Then attack that bishop, and the bishop is free. What else? This is pretty straightforward. There's a free rook hanging out here somewhere, except if I pick that check, pick this guy, there's going to be a check here by the knight. I cannot pick back, I have to move. And there's going to be a check here by the knight again. I have to move How will I address? How will I address that? That is not easy.
Oh, wow, you got in 30.
Wow. So, but this is survival error. So survival is not so hard. This is a really nice trap. So
Trap.
yes, you see the trap is that I can come here and say check and then eat a free rook. Can't see that. But if I do that, the moment I've eaten the rook, let's first make sure that I'm not making a mistake. This knight is going to come here and say check. The pawn can't pick because the pawn is pinned. You've seen? You've seen?
Pick the.
Have you seen? So in fact, this knight can come back. So the king has to come here. In fact, the knight can come here and say check because I discovered check. The king must come here. This is going to be check. The queen captures. Knight captures if that's what I'm planning, but maybe I could just get a draw immediately. So here the correct move is to just pick this guy like this. That's a correct move. That was close.
Wow. Push Jockey got into the game. The middle game.
So this one, the best thing to note is that the only way this guy can capture is with the king. If I pick this way, this rook is pinned, and that makes the king exposed. So I'm going to give you a check after. King comes up, rook comes out to give you another check. Kings come up, and this is going to be checkmate somehow. So just whenever you have a king and queen, king and rook against a king in the open, checkmate is very possible. So you don't have to think too much about it. I normally just bring now the rook into play here. And the question now is what is the checkmating pattern? So here now you have to figure out what checkmate is. What gives checkmate? I have seen. So checkmate is not necessary here. We just win a rook. And that's good enough. Great. So hello. Hello, Mr. Kosi. Salama kabisa. I'm not sure she'll be able to join, but I'll just check with her in a few. Let me just finish. I'm streaming something right now. Okay, all right. Is that tournament trying to play? Okay. So
people call you to ask to join. For me to join. Wow.
So this is the next question. Which is the correct move? I think the correct move is to attack the rook.
Which tournament is that? Which the tournament I'm supposed to join?
It's a tournament for ladies.
Only.
Okay. So this particular one is a bit shifty. So this one is a bit tricky. I'm not seeing the point. The things that are going through my mind are quite a couple. I'm seeing if I pick, he picks with the rook, I pick, he picks back and I don't see. Pick with the rook, picks, pick back, picks, and I don't see the continuation for that. And he has an extra pawn. I don't think the issue is to draw. I'm supposed to win something. The other thing I could try is to stop this. Okay, so maybe I want to move this pawn forward. So if I play here, he can pick. Then the check goes where, the discovery goes where. I cannot see it. Discovery here doesn't work. King up, attacking the knight. Check. King captures. I don't see it. Doesn't work. So next thing is what? Next thing is if I pick here and he picks that. So here, this one holds a bit more promise. I have a check right here. Then the king goes up. Okay, then I pick, he picks. I have a check, but that check does nothing, you know, because the bishop is too far away to be forked in that situation. So what's the answer to this situation here? Okay, if I push the pawn, I've seen it. It's a hard one, this one. Super hard, this. So the answer is to, you push this pawn as if you want to make a queen. The only way really to stop the pawn from becoming a queen is by bringing the rook here to attack the pawn. Then now this pawn will come up attacking that rook. And the only place the rook can come to is here, and the king can come up and attack that rook. So the rook has to sort of either give itself up for this pawn or abandon that whole story altogether. So this is the correct move. Then that, yes, it has to give itself up. That was a tough one. But it's only tough because I wasn't paying attention, to be honest. It's all right, no issue. Okay, so there are very many guys doing many things here. So let's see. I think I can see one of the things is the rook on the same diagonal as the king. There's a bishop that's undefended. If I pick here immediately, free bishop, knight comes here, check, such a. So this knight is going to come here and hit my queen. You don't want that. There's a check there. Okay, so that's not the answer at all. I don't want the queen to capture that. So let's start with this first. Okay, check, and you go. I think you have to sort of go there first, and then I can give you another check here and pick that rook. Yep, that's what I want to do. Then I want to come here and pick this rook. Right, so what's going on? Okay, if I attack this bishop, for example, how is it to be defended? I don't see how to defend this bishop at all. And the queen can come out, threatening check here, but when I pick this, then that check doesn't apply. However, he'll eat my. If I come out immediately, he'll capture my bishop. So let me start with this check here. Then let me attack that guy and pick up the bishop. So that works well. So my queen is under attack. But I can leave it right there. There's a check here. Yeah, so I've already seen, I can let you capture my queen. So I'm going to pick this. If you capture my queen, I bring my bishop out. And this is a checkmate because you really have nothing to block. You can't escape. The bishop is defending that square. Alternatively, if you pick my bishop, and it can only happen this way, the rook picks, king goes here, this is checkmate. So this is a correct move. Okay, said it's fine. This is interesting. So I'm going to give out my pawn, check, you pick. I bring this bishop out here, which is threatening checkmate by picking there. If you pick, rook comes down, check. You pick with the knight of the rook comes down, check, and it's checkmate. So I'm going to play. Oh no, I missed something there. Too bad. Okay, fine. This looks like I should be able to give checkmate by, normally the first move is something like this, check, then do another check. If you move there, check, 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 what happens? I'll just pick. I've not calculated anything there. Just assuming the checks work. Okay, so here to see what the the final answer is, and I should be concluding now because there's a task I'm meant to be handling that I've handled actually through and through. So what happens? Bishop under threat. The initial move I had was this. Then the rook comes out. I pick this guy. What does that do? I'm not sure. Okay, that's all there is to it. I can't believe it. Okay, so the first thing that strikes me is that I can allow you to do this that you want to do because, oh, no. If I do that, you can pick this guy. Check, I move away, then you play here. Okay, let me see that again. So if I pick this, you pick this check, I move up, and then you move your knight back to stop me from checkmating you. And I can't see how to proceed. But if I pick this guy, it's going to be a check. The queen, I move here, you check me, I move there. Now the only check comes through here. Yeah, let's do that. I think I should play here. Oh, no. I'm supposed to move down. Check comes with the knight first. And I saw the whole of that and I just planted and played something completely different. It's very sad. Very, very sad. Yeah, I'm not even thinking. I just play this. Just because I have to leave. I'll just pick this guy. That's wrong. Okay, fine. So this move that I got wrong, let me just show you what I had in mind, what I was supposed to play. I already had this answer. So pick this guy, then play here. Okay, so now here we should pick with the queen. It's a plan. So that you can understand how it would go like that. But my idea was something very different. I thought that I would pick here. He picks. I come here. He'll come in with the knight. Then I move up. So knight comes down. Knight comes down. I pick that and attacking the queen. He picks me, and I pick this guy. Check, and I'll just basically win the game. That's what I thought. It's all right. This other one I missed earlier. This one I didn't see what the answer is. So I thought I'll play here. Yeah. So in chess, two things. I've seen the answer. In chess, two things. You have three moves you're making in this position. I'm making this move, I'm making this move, and I'm making this move. Those are three moves I'm going to make. Initially, I can start with this or this, those two moves. So which one first? This first or this first? And that's a super important question in chess. And starting with this loses. This one is starts with a check, he has to respond. And that's a check, he has to respond. So basically, this is the first move. So this is the first move. This is the second move. This is the third move. You can see that it's checkmate. Really not very complicated, but just that I forgot a very simple rule of chess. What's the order? You know, so all those things are right, but in what order should be the things you're doing? You really want to do a lot of good things. All the things you want to do are really, really good, and they add value. But what's the correct order of doing them? And you want to do everything at the same time. You get them in the wrong order, you're going to get yourself in trouble. That's another life lesson right there. Okay, so let's see the last one, which is this that I just missed now. I'm sure it's something pretty straightforward as well. Let me just be sure that you're all seeing the same thing I'm seeing. Yes, you are. And I'm just going to finish. So I've rushed this quite a bit because I am in trouble now to some degree. So the first thing that occurred to me was that this guy is pinned. That pin is probably hopeless. So if I pick this guy, you have to pick with the pawn, which we can sew squares. So there's a SWOT analysis in chess as well. But even better. Great. So if I pick this bishop, the only way you can this is so nice. It's clear if I pick this bishop, you have to pick with this pawn because the queen can't pick. All right? But then I don't have to pick with the knight. I can pick with the rook. Same applies. You can't capture with the queen, with the pawn. You can't capture the queen because I then pick your queen for free, and that's not good. So you still have to pick with the pawn. Then I'll come with the knight and say check. Then see these guys. So already you can see. Can the same question? Can the rook capture the bishop? First person is going to say yes or no, guessing. Yes, no, not sure. Second person will see that the rook can actually just move here, pick. So yes, the rook can capture the bishop. Another person will see that when you capture this this rook, this bishop, your rook will be captured back. This is 5 points. This is 3 points. And 3 versus 5, that's just a bad idea. But another person sees that, yes, if you capture, how do you capture back? If you capture the queen, capture your queen. If you capture the pawn, the knight will come here and say check and eat your queen. And so says no. Yes, you can rook and capture. So then but then someone else looks and says, okay, fine. So I want to capture this. If you capture the pawn, the knight comes. But there's an in-between move. That in-between move is when you capture this bishop takes your knight. If I take back the knight, then now the rook is taken back and that check is not there anymore. So he says, no, the rook cannot capture that. Someone sees even further and says that if I pick this guy, he picks this guy, the rook picks the queen, and therefore the rook is not lost for free. But someone says, no, actually you pick the rook, the bishop, picks the knight, picks the queen, this bishop picks your queen and says, yes, the rook can't capture, but then now the final analysis, actually not even the final analysis, there's one more. This is, in fact, I'll capture this, let me capture this position. I may put it in your book when I'm writing. Something. Yes, go ahead and ask the question. Yes, one moment.
What did you get?
38. Not really. I've done more than that. I could do like, for this, I could even have done maybe 16, since I'd have to finish.
But bravo, 38. It's nice.
File.
It's okay. Yes.
Sorry, mode. Full screen. File. Save as KCP. I'm going to use this image for something I'm writing in my book. So I'm just going to close that. One moment.
You're writing a book?
Yes, I have. So once again, guys, there's always this question people ask. Say, for example, let me take a very simple thing like, should you ban matatus from the CBD? Should you ban 14-seater matatus and replace them with the bigger seater matatus? So the first person will say yes, no, not thinking about it. Same thing, rook capture. That person will think smaller matatus carry fewer passengers, and therefore the fewer passengers, the big matatu carry bigger passengers. So the smaller matatus, you require many of them, big matatus, you require few of them. And so if you ban the small matatus, you'll have fewer cars on the road. Now that is KCP level 2, night capture point level 2. Level 3, someone says that in fact, yes, you have fewer matatus, but the matatus are bigger. They occupy more space on the road. They require bigger stages, and they are slower, and they board slowly. And so says, no, maybe there could be a risk there. Someone else says, okay, actually, even all that is true. Plus, most of the reasons why matatus are causing traffic is they're waiting. So if you have bigger matatus waiting, you have fewer matatus waiting, then you have more traffic. But someone else says, okay, if you have fewer matatus, but they are bigger matatus, one matatu alone blocks a bigger part of the road. And therefore, you say that banning the smaller matatus causes more traffic. It's the exact same thing. And so at the end of the day, you find a very basic argument like small matatus carry fewer passengers, therefore causes more traffic. It's really, can I say, poorly thought out. It sometimes sounds like an answer, but it's not. It's just that in life, complex issues are never that simple. And if someone is arguing about it, ask yourself, okay, what is it they're seeing? Because the same question here is, can this rook capture this bishop? And the answer is, yes, it can. But someone will say yes because they're saying this rook can move, and it picks. Hasn't thought about any of these answers. And once the answer is said, because this is the correct answer, I'll play it right now. That's the correct answer. And the person who saw this move and the person who said no because they saw this bishop would eat here, this person who said yes because of the simple rook move, yes, I was right. But really, they were not right. They didn't see nearly to, it was like a really, really low level thinking. And therefore, we have to be very careful. In this situation of saying, yes, the knight is captured, but I can capture here first. You capture this guy. Then I capture. In fact, that's not the end of the story. So I'll pick here check. He picks. I pick. Check comes. This knight blocks. It's a very long version, and we'll come back to it at some point. Actually, pick there, and then this knight comes. It's a really long explanation. Let's do that again. So if we start from the beginning, the initial thought was if I pick this with the knight, then the pawn can pick and there's nothing. But then I realized I can pick this guy. And actually, let's just do it once again so that it's clear what's going on here, so that you can analyze on this analysis board, and the analysis board will show up in the same place so you can see it clearly. Yes, it does. So in this situation, the first thing I was saying is, if I first question, can the rook pick? Yes, the rook can pick, because if this is done, if the queen picks, then the queen is lost like that, and that's a queen for a rook, and that's just a bad idea. Second version.
Looking for a rook plus a knight.
Yeah, but still
that's to 9.
Yeah, but that's still no. It's 8. 5 plus 8 is it? So then the alternative is, if instead you pick with the pawn, then this move comes here, and your queen is lost. So you've seen those two moves. So what black says, okay, fine, I can see what you're planning. So before I take your rook, let me take your bishop. Okay? So that's the plan. So now if I take the bishop back, he just takes the rook, and in fact, black is winning. So someone may say, wow, don't take the bishop, because you take the knight, you take the bishop back, you take the bishop back, he takes your rook, and you're losing. But then white can look further and say, no, I don't have to pick your bishop. I can take your queen first.
That is white or black winning?
White is winning now. And then black actually sees that the moment someone else can say that if you take my queen, if you take my queen here, then I can take your queen here. So basically you're winning nothing. And if I take the bishop up, you take my rook. And in fact, once again, black is winning in this position. But then white will say, someone else looks further and says, no, in fact, white doesn't have to take the bishop right away. You can actually pick the rook first in check. When you pick that rook, now I pick your bishop. But then someone else looks further and says, actually, there's a check here. And you
But
can't
this
bring down
appears.
this rook, because if you bring down the rook can be taken for free. And once again, white is winning. Black is winning. But then someone else looks and says, no, no, no.
This
No need to
appears.
bring the rook, you can bring the knight. And ladies and gentlemen, the person who says the rook can capture the bishop because the knight can block the last check on move number, what move number is that? Move number 6. That this knight can come down. That's the person who actually solved the puzzle. So whenever you've been asked this very simple question, should we ban 14 sita matatus? And you have a very simplistic answer. That answer, ladies and gentlemen, is a disservice to humanity. You may ban the 14 sita matatus and still cause a lot of traffic because you didn't think through, you didn't do due diligence, and you made a very, very basic mistake that ought not be made. So, in fact, this is not the end of the story. Someone still has to look. You may find that this net can be captured. This is how chess imitates life. So the strong people in life actually don't jump to conclusions. You jump to a conclusion, that conclusion is possibly wrong. All right. So do not, please, whatever you do, avoid jumping to conclusions. That's the moral of this story. KCP, and the person who said, yes, the rook can capture the bishop because they could see it moving, was far lower in rating, even though the answer is right. The person who said no, because they saw this check at the end and thought it was checkmate, was seen much further. I'll explain that in future. Maybe I'll use this lesson to explain that. So, guys, thank you very much. It's been a very interesting example. I've captured this position for something I'm doing, a book I'm writing. I look forward to it. It's about quite some important topics in life. That's it, guys. Do leave a comment, like, subscribe.
Bye bye.
You cannot see who's saying bye bye. There she is. Bye.